Kadoma City, Osaka Prefecture grew alongside Panasonic. After the war until the bubble era, apartment complexes were built everywhere for employees. It's truly a Panasonic town. However, the population keeps declining and it could disappear. It's on a steady path of decline to the point where it's even listed as a potential vanishing city. Of course, near the apartment complexes, many shopping streets and commercial facilities open, targeting the people who live there. This worn-out, nearly deserted place remains the same. Last century, this shopping street had over 50 stores and was frequented by many. Now just 5 stores remain open, leaving the street deserted. The city's decline, the supermarket association's sudden end, and other factors were involved. This time I'll introduce Daishin Top Center and Daishin Top Shopping Street in Kadoma City, Osaka Prefecture. I'm driving to the location. I'm also from Osaka, but I have no sense of the area at all. I think this is probably my first time coming around here. It might sound bad, but there are a lot of old buildings here. The reason becomes clear as soon as you look at the distance from the station. The nearest station is adjacent to Kadoma City. It takes about 35 minutes on foot from either Japan Railway's Sumitoto Station or Nozaki Station in Daido City. That's why redevelopment gets put off. Even there's a lot of car traffic, plus apartment complexes and condos. Are the shops there because of Panasonic? By the way, it's not that all of Kadoma City is hard to reach by train. It's just that the area around our destination is far from the station. Anyway, we're almost at our destination. This time, I've done a lot of research, including acquiring large-scale data and back issues of newspapers, which cost about 10,000 yen in total, so please watch until the end. We've arrived. Time has clearly stood still here since the Showa era. It's nostalgic, and there are hardly any signs of people here. When it first opened, it was bustling with people. To the left is Daishin Top Meitengai, a shopping street of individual shops. And on the right was a commercial facility called Daishin Top Center. Daishin uses one character each from Daido City and Kadoma City. Daishin Top Center has been closed and the building is not in use now. Until March 31, 2019, it was the Seikatsu Sozokan. There were 24 specialty stores, including a supermarket called As, apparel, drugstores, and restaurants. But without warning, it suddenly closed, almost like a midnight escape. Most stores on Daishin Top Shopping Street have closed. Today was a holiday and only 5 stores, including the main one, are open. Last century, 14 stores operated. That's right. A notice is posted on the vending machine installed in the shopping arcade saying Super As has closed, but the As shopping arcade is still open. Daishin Hotel was closed today, but I felt like they were trying to brighten up the shopping arcade anyway. That's amazing. Up ahead, there's a shopping arcade with a roof. Not a single store is open, by the way. Also, this is a different shopping street from Daishin Top Meitengai. In many old shopping streets, the first floor is for shops, and the upper floors are for residences. Just looking at the outside, it seems that way too, doesn't it? However, since the same owner as Daishin Top Center owned and managed the entire building, people used to live there. That's not the case either. It seems that, after all, the upper floors were used by the staff. By the way, the buildings on the left and right are connected, forming a single structure. It's clear when you view it from behind after leaving the arcade. I found an old map of the area. I don't know when this sign was made, but it's from quite a while ago. This part is where I just walked. Here is Daishin Top Center, and here is Daishin Top. This shopping street here is where the arcade used to be. Personally, I was surprised, but it seems there was also a Higo Pet, a pet shop chain mainly in Kansai. If you count the number of stores, there were 28. With 24 specialty stores in Daishin Top Center, there were 52 stores in total. Now only 5 remain, less than a tenth of the original. That's far too few. A small sign at the arcade entrance announces the shopping street is open. But can we really say it's open for business in this situation? Well, I guess technically it is open. From the backside, you can see the faded sign in the top center's color clearly. The building opened in December 1976 and, to my knowledge, hasn't had major renovations. There's also a sign posted saying they're looking for tenants. But since 2019, the building has been left abandoned, and to this day, no new tenants have been decided. In 1975, this area was all fields. Even if you look at the aerial photos, you can't find Daishin Top Center, Daishin Top, or the Maitengai Arcade anywhere. There were only fields spreading out. Development started right after this. This is an aerial photo from 1979. You can see the Daishin Top Center and Daishin Top Shopping Street. At this point, there was no arcade yet, but you can see that there was some other building. When I checked the registry, I found that most of the buildings in Daishin Top Shopping Street were registered in 1976. Since Daishin Top Center was from 1976, it likely opened at the same time or shortly after. On the other hand, Fuji Shoji-ko Liti acquired the land for the arcade section in 1981. After that, the building was registered in 1982. To summarize, Daishin Top Maitengai and Daishin Top Center opened around the same time, and then the arcade section opened a little later. Fuji Shoji owns the real estate company Hayamako Salatech. It's the same company that recruited tenants for Daishin Top Center. Fuji Shoji owns the land and buildings of Daishin Top Center, including the land and buildings of the arcade section. And then they acquired the land for the road section and developed the whole area as one. Daishin Top Shopping Street was basically a group of separate stores. Individuals own both the land and buildings in the shopping street. However, they all share the name Daishin and opened around the same time. The unified roof colors make it appear as one complex, clearly indicating planned development. Fuji Shoji runs the Top World supermarkets along the Keihan Electric Railway. This is the first time I've heard of the company, but they have 10 stores. For those living along the Keihan line, this supermarket is familiar. The predecessor of Top World was a store called Top Center. You could call it a commercial facility, and that wouldn't be wrong. Inside, there are various shops. It seems that it had a market-like atmosphere. I searched desperately for photos from my Top Setter days, but I couldn't find any at all. So unfortunately, I have nothing to show you. Sorry about that. I checked other stores, but found nothing. Fuji Shoji developed this inconvenient area because Kadoma City was thriving as a Panasonic company town. With more people working at Panasonic and related companies, they recognized the potential for residential development in former rice fields. That's why they built commercial facilities and a shopping street in this area. The surrounding area is honestly just a regular residential neighborhood. Nowadays, any company would hesitate to open a store here. It's in an incredible location. It shows how powerful Kadoma City was then. This one is located about 500 meters away in Higashi Kadoma Town in 1979. There are 504 warehouses, and the building age? It's almost the same as Daishin Top Center and Daishin Top Shopping Street. Because many people were moving in, they expected commercial potential. Daishin Top Center and specialty stores. We can assume that a town was born, but after the 1990s, Panasonic's manufacturing base has gradually moved overseas. There was no longer a need to keep factories in Japan, so they were closed one after another. Consequently, Kadoma City's population shrank and its economy declined rapidly. Furthermore, tax revenues also decreased significantly. The city relied on companies, and the town was built around them, so no one knew what to do anymore. In this situation, Fujioji decided to withdraw from the Daishin Top Center in 2003. Since the late 1990s, other top centers had been converting into Top World. I think the timing was probably good as well. However, did they think that they shouldn't leave this area without a supermarket? Right after that, they rented the building from Fujioji, and Sekatsu Sozokan Oz opened. Daishin Top Center Business Cooperative is Daishin Top Center. ASCO, Le City, took over the facility, managing the supermarket section. I don't know what kind of connection these two companies have, but it's likely that the cooperative created a separate company. It's the shopping street in the arcade section. Most of the tenants have probably left or completely withdrawn since around the time Fujioji pulled out. If you check the 2009 street view, you can only see part of the inside of the arcade, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of businesses operating. As also suddenly closed down without any notice on March 31, 2019. After that, Az's operating company, ASCO Limited, went bankrupt. The Daishin Top Center Business Cooperative was dissolved. I've occasionally heard of individual tenants suddenly closing down and disappearing, but I haven't really heard of an entire facility doing that. Az wasn't the only store. 24 others were there, but all closed too. Did these stores know anything about it? On the day of the closure, a lot of suppliers and shoppers came, and they were all surprised by the sudden shutdown. Yes, it seems only a few involved people knew about it. Az's sales fell from 700 million yen last century to about 300 million yen by bankruptcy. Supermarket sales are greatly affected by their size and location, so it's hard to say for sure. By 2019, supermarkets nationwide had annual sales of about 1.2 billion yen. Honestly, wasn't it tough from the very beginning? Even in such a bad location, they managed to sell 300 million yen until the end. You might wonder if they earned that much, but it was a pretty large supermarket. Considering it was a rental property, they were probably well below the break-even point. This is the 2014 street view. Several bicycles were also parked here. There are people waiting and it seems lively. Rechargeable prepaid cards were also available at the supermarket, and customers charged them while shopping. The money hasn't been returned. Since Az wasn't a chain store, you couldn't use it anywhere else either. Not just here, but the supermarket suddenly went bankrupt. Every time I saw the news on television, I thought, but I put money on my card. I feel like I keep seeing heartbreaking interviews with users. Prepaid cards are certainly convenient because payments are quick, but if the company goes bankrupt, you can't use them anymore. Unless it's a really big company, you should be careful. Previously, companies close to bankruptcy encouraged people to load prepaid cards to recover more money. Apparently, there were companies like that too. Now then, who owns the Daishin Top Center building these days? Let's take a look at the big picture. It appears that both the building and land are still owned by Hayama Corporation, or Fuji Shoji. By the way, just to add, the arcade section and the doll section as well. Since opening, only part of Daishin Top Shopping Street, it seems that, except for individual owners, everything else is still owned by Fuji Shoji. The Daishin Top Center has not been used since it closed in 2019. They have been looking for tenants the whole time. Tenant wanted. There is a sign, but it's a mystery how serious they are about finding one. It's in a residential area with just 35 parking spaces and the roads are narrow. It was a business-friendly place as it was the old Kadoma city. The building is large, covering 656 tsubos. With a typical single-family house, you could build about 15 of them here. It's pretty tough. The place that used to be a parking lot is now packed with trucks, so the road is narrow, but there's no problem. No problem at all. That's true, but right now, we haven't been able to sell it or rent it out, so it's just sitting there abandoned. How well is it being managed? Also, the Daishin Top Shopping Street, which stands in front of Top Center, is a shopping street that has shared its history with Top Center. It survived thanks to customers making additional purchases when visiting Top Center. Shops in the shopping street kept closing down one after another, and as more people left, even more shops closed. It's become a negative cycle. Currently, only 5 stores are still open. But are they making any sales? Well, basically, since the owner has both the land and buildings, they should be fine. Due to the location, they're unlikely to regain their former glory. But it's true that there were many users in the past. The remnants of the era when Kadoma City was thriving are still left, just as they were. Isn't this what you'd call a fossil? Everyone should visit too. Currently, Kadoma City is analyzed as a city at risk of disappearing. This is because it is predicted that by 2050, the number of women aged 20 to 39 will drop to less than half. This is Lalaport Kadoma. It opened in 2023 on the former site of a Panasonic factory. There is also a Costco and an outlet mall here. On weekends and holidays, many people visit and it's bustling. Panasonic has started moving part of its company to Tokyo, and this trend will likely continue in the future. Kadoma City is also undergoing a transformation from a company town, and the flow of people is starting to change as well. Despite Lalaport's glamorous opening, such facilities exist. This reflects Kadoma City's current situation. Access is poor, and the area remains undeveloped. If you drive to Lalaport in Kadoma on a holiday, you might get stuck, so be careful. That's it for this video. See you again in the next one.